Is this the real life, or is this just fantasy? Well, this is a review of Bohemian Rhapsody, directed by Bryan Singer and starring Rami Malek and Lucy Boynton. And as a moderate Queen fan, I wouldn't call myself hardcore by any stretch of the imagination, it was serviceable. It did its job really well. The cinematography was great, the casting was brilliant, and overall it was a great film. Whilst I do want to get into the details of how it twisted the history to sort of suit the cinematic narrative and give us more dramatic punches, I do just want to quickly give an overview before I delve into it that deeply. And I do want to say as well that it was going to be fairly accurate because Roger Taylor and Brian May were both heavily involved in the production. This is something they've wanted to bring to the screen for a while, and finally they've been able to do that. Added to that, Mary Austin, while she has taken a backseat from the public eye, she did read the script, so she's going to have okayed certain things that happened, particularly with her and Freddie's history. But it is based on a true story. And the story itself is really the origins. We start with a young Freddie sort of just having a menial job, not quite the job he was doing, but I did say I'll get into the anachronisms, if you will, in a moment. Meets the band, starts up working with them, and of course becomes this tour de force that we know as Queen. There's, a breakup in the middle, well, not quite the middle, sort of second, third, and, the aftermath of that, the fallout of that, before they came back together and, were stronger than before. They said they were a family for all this time before the split, but in fact, it was really when they came back together that idea of family was properly cemented, as I understand the film. It, of course, deals with, his first relationship being with a woman before he realised that maybe that wasn't the way his life was meant to go. And of course we do have the issue surrounding his HIV diagnosis. But on the whole, I really enjoyed this film. Like I say, it was well shot, well acted, the music just kept going. I was in a great environment in the cinema. There was a family sort of over that way to me, and the father, I assume, was like kind of mouthing along. He was probably lightly singing, but I couldn't hear him from where I was. And he was just so enjoying himself. I even went up to him afterwards and said, I loved every time a song came on, I looked over and you were enjoying it, and that helped me enjoy it more. But it does have heartbreak as well. Whilst it does have uplifting, happy, joyful, just belt out a song kind of moments, it does have maudlin moments. Freddie's life wasn't all roses. He came from, Farsi Indian heritage, and he was lucky enough to be kind of passing. I often forget that he has that kind of heritage because he is quite pale. But Farsi, I believe, is linked to the sort of Iranian side of things, who are quite linked. Considering they're considered Arabic, they are quite linked to Caucasians. So a lot of them can pass. They often have lighter coloured eyes than most Arabs. So I did find that kind of idea brought up, and the fact that perhaps the climate of the world now is better equipped to handle that kind of nuance, as well as obviously the sexuality. He even believes that he was bisexual before Mary corrects him. It's like, no, you're not. Sorry, you're actually gay. But as a general catch-all recommendation, I would say if you've got any interest in the music or the history of Queen, go and see it. You'll enjoy it. You'll have a great time singing along, quietly, I hope. Don't disturb other patrons, please. But enjoy it for what it is. But I do want to delve into now where it kind of deviates from history, and this is possibly going to get more spoilery. I know it's a real story, and some of it's already spoiled if you actually have ever looked into it, but the twists they make are kind of spoiled here. So if you do want to go into it without knowing any of this, I recommend you see it. You can end the video here and come back afterwards, that's fine. But like I say, there is a lot that they twist and serve the purpose. He didn't get the diagnosis until after the Live Aid performance, for one. Whereas it is, he in a kind of group setting, he tells the band, well, this is a situation, while they're rehearsing. This is a situation, keep it between us. And it kind of informs that performance at Live Aid. But like I say, he didn't have that until like at least 2 years after that. added to that the fact that, you know, the band splits up because of this solo career, which actually everyone was fine with, and Roger Taylor had his solo album first, I believe, in 1981. So the idea of a solo album splitting up the band is complete fabrication. They were all fine with it, and you know, the sort of coming back together. So Live Aid was that kind of like reunion gig. Not at all true. They'd actually done a tour, I think, that ended about 2 months before, and any of the issues that the band had that gave them sort of poor public image was probably about the fact that they did still tour in South Africa during apartheid. That's what kind of got them some negative flack around that time, and I think that's possibly what Live Aid might have helped bolster them back into the public eye in a positive way for. The meeting of the band as well was entirely different. He actually lived with both May and Taylor for a period before joining the band, but he'd also met Tim, the guy he replaced, at art college, whilst he was actually working on a stall, not as a baggage handler. He did do that, but he didn't go from baggage handler, meet the band, into the band that quickly. But again, it served a narrative purpose. And the final deviation they take is the fact that he didn't see Mary first, and it wasn't in that way. Again, like I say, he lived with May and Taylor for a period, and they were going to this Bieber place, for, you know, to just basically scope out the talent, if you will. And that's how he met her. And in fact, she dated Brian May first. He reported last year to Yahoo Entertainment that, you know, he was with her for a period, and Freddie just came up and said, "Are you and Mary serious? Because I'd like a crack at that whip, if you will." And then they became lovers, and, you know, they were good friends throughout. You know, that bit's true, and I believe she got a portion of his wealth when he passed. Oh, there is one final thing I forgot about the whole Jim situation. He was actually a hairdresser who he met at a gay club. He wasn't a server at a debauched party at all. But, you know, he was obviously his partner through the remainder of his life, as well as all the cats. I love the fact that they got that in, the fact that Freddie was a big cat lover. But yeah, the relationship with Jim was very different, but it was still a very positive and nurturing one, you could tell. But I really, really enjoyed this. You know, anachronisms aside, it served its purpose well. I came out beaming. I was talking with Amy about it, and we couldn't pinpoint any massive glaring issue apart from those narrative deviations. It's rare that I can't think of a bad thing to say about a film, and if I graded, this would be among the high kind of ranking ones, I think, for me, because it was just so entertaining. And I've loved Rami Malek since I saw him first in Until Dawn, although that did have uncanny valley moments with all of them, but I think he did well with the character of Josh in that. Then Mr. Robot, you know, Elliot was such a great character, and I can't see anyone else doing the role, and now you've got this. I'm glad that he's getting this mainstream attention, and it's a perfect casting. There was ideas of Sacha Baron Cohen doing it, and I don't think it would have been as believable. So if you haven't seen it, go and see it. If you have seen it, hopefully, like me, you'll be getting the special edition Blu-ray release, or whatever home format you prefer. But that'll do it for this week. But next time, we're going to keep it on a Rami Malek inspired theme, but we'll see what that is next time. So until then, as always, thanks for watching, and take care.